Should I start Connor Rogers or Lawrence Jackson in my FFHH flex spot? Both guys missed shows this week. I'm nervous about their upside.
Yeah, they are low ceiling characters.
Yes. You should be nervous about their upside. You should be nervous about their downside. They can't stay on the field. They can't stay on the desk.
Injury.
You know what I mean? Like, exactly. I mean, they're just, look,
You sucked it up from Tuscaloosa.
1,000%. Like, 100%. Like, you just, the best ability is availability. And
How do you think I got the job?
And 100%. Like, we didn't want George, but he at least showed up.
Yeah.
Like
I always say, it's like what Keanu Reeves said at the end of Hardball, talking at G-Baby's funeral. The most important thing is showing up.
Fantasy Football Pregame with Matthew Berry.
Good morning. Welcome to Fantasy Football Pregame. As Matthew said, the best availability is availability. George, not available, Matthew, but he did come in with a live update that he has right at the top of the show.
Did he? All right. All right. Good on George then.
What's up, Fantasy Football Pregame crew? George Savaricas with you, getting late in the day here in Tokyo. Bay Current Classic just wrapped up on Golf Channel. PGA Tour stop in town this week. Some of the backdrop here. Xander Schauffele getting his 10th PGA Tour victory. About 5 local time when the tournament ended, 4 a.m. Eastern time. I bet none of you were up unless you crazy insomniacs and wanted to see some live golf action middle of the night. To the important stuff, last week, Matthew, pickup line. We cashed the over with Garrett Wilson's receiving yardage prop, and a shout out to Jay, Drake May's passing yardage prop also hitting as well. Now, as a Bears fan, I got to relive the most painful loss of 2024 by far for any fan base, the Hail Mary loss to the Commanders. We run it back on Monday night. Matthew, we heard your battle cry last week. Hail Commanders, hail cover, as you took the points on FF pregame. Commanders blowing out the Chargers. I'm going to take the Bears and the points. Let's do a dinner bet on the line for Bears at Commanders Monday night.
How many dinners does he owe me already? At some point, I'm gonna have to eat with him for like a week. No, I think he's 2 dinners into me now.
Also,
I mean, sure, George. I mean, we might as well hang out for a weekend.
It's a lot of things going on in that video. First off, with all that stuff he just said, he's not here. You said the best ability is availability. I'm here with half a neck, and George is somewhere talking about golf, heavy on the filters, and rambling on about the Bears.
It was
like, what you trying to be
It was
cute,
a lot
George?
of golf. It was a lot of golf, and then eventually he got to something interesting, but like it was just, I don't know.
The whole video sucked.
Yeah, thank you.
Why also, to you pointed out the filters, why is George Savaricas walking around the streets of Tokyo with makeup on? What's going on there?
Very odd.
What's wrong with the man?
He had the Facetune on the high
trying to be
G.
pretty out
He looks
there.
like a Korean K-pop star. It's unbelievable.
Anyway, and not a good one. No, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal. But yeah, sure, George, I'll have, you haven't paid off any of the other dinner bets that we've had, but sure.
It's going on with the AirPods as well. Tough AirPod game.
Yeah.
No good.
Anyway, welcome back, Trista Crick, who fans of Happy Hour have seen before, so making her debut on Fantasy Football Pregame for us. Lawrence, good to be. What's going on? Are you gonna die? Like,
listen,
because that looks bad.
I play for the Baltimore Ravens, and we just all hurt right now. So now I'm back. I'm not 100%, so on a limited snap count right now. So I could be here right now. Next segment, I could be gone. So
Lawrence, does that T-shirt say Dat Net?
Dat Net.
You got Dat Net game? Net game is up right now. Yeah. Strong net.
Roquan Jackson.
Goodness gracious. Yeah. We are live right now on the Cock. Is that right? We're live on the Cock. We're live on YouTube. Hop into the chat using hashtag Fantasy Football Pregame, FF Pregame. Send us your start, sit questions, your lineup dilemmas. Regulars know that we're going to be checking that all day long.
Yeah, all day long. Yeah.
Are you feeling awkward yet? We started off prior to when you came into the bell talking about your wardrobe. We talked about your nipples. We talked about we're live on the Cock.
That was off camera.
Yeah.
So he's getting red. We're hoping to get the shades up another notch or two.
I would just like America to know that normally I'm the one that derails the show, and yet, producer Steven, I'm trying to get us back on track here. So I will start us off there. So we're all discombobulated. No George Savaricas. Lawrence here with half a neck. But anyway, I'm going to start us off with a toast. A toast to Matthew Stafford, who might be the hottest quarterback in the NFL. He's 4th in fantasy points per pass attempt over the last couple of weeks, and now he has to go to Baltimore, who's decimated. Literally, they all look like Lawrence at the moment in terms of how banged up they are on both sides of the ball, but specifically in the secondary here. Bad weather potentially expected. There's a big nor'easter coming up through the entire East Coast, so we'll see if he can battle through that. But just a shout out to Matthew Stafford, because regardless of his fantasy prospects, he has kept number 1 wide receiver Puka Nacua high in our rankings and our hearts. Devontae Adams as well. Cheers to Matthew Stafford, who should have another nice game today.
Indeed. Okay, my toast is to a worse quarterback than that, but a quarterback nonetheless, and one who's coming off a win, unlike Matthew Stafford. That's a Spencer Rattler.
Sure.
If you Google AI what Spencer Rattler's lifetime record is as a starter in the NFL, it'll tell you 0-10, even though he won last week. So 1-10, Spencer Rattler, coming over his first victory. Spencer Rattler's a good quarterback, Lawrence. He's a solid quarterback in the NFL, and well done to him on getting his first victory.
Yeah,
well,
Ratty Ice.
If we're playing the game of who could keep naming the worst quarterbacks, I'll raise you one here. Give me Joe Flacco. Toast to Joe Flacco, because despite 2 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, only completing 58% of his passes, damn it, he's still getting away with it. And he's starting today for the Cincinnati Bengals. But now he got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So toast to you, Joe Flacco. He said, look, if I can keep playing, I'm going to play.
Yeah.
So I got to respect it. Joe Flacco is the reason I'm here right now. He 40, I'm 40, I'm here. He here, we both hurt. He probably hurting with some. So toast to Joe Flacco, man.
He's got better receivers, but his offensive line is much, much worse. I am toasting to the Trevor Lawrence, who came in
Welcome aboard.
absolutely clutch.
Water's fine. There you go.
Against the Chiefs in primetime. He actually won me my fantasy matchup. Could have had 3 rushing touchdowns, only 2, and the fumble. Using his legs, he's scampering guys. And that last score gave the Jags the win, saved my fantasy matchup. And cheers to the Trevor.
Cheers. I'll drink to the Traveler.
Sure,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well done,
America's joined on board. You see the Jaguar social media, Trista, everyone's getting on board with the Traveler.
Goodness.
Yeah, we got to get to a quick update on this Broncos-Jets game in London. Do we have to? It's 10-6 Denver.
It's an atrocity. It's like modern art, but in a bad way.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like you're always like, we're up against an NFL game, and then you're like, well, actually, we might be a better watch. We might be a more entertaining watch, to be honest with you. It's been tough. Speaking of someone who had to start Justin Fields in multiple leagues, it's been tough. I'm hoping for some fourth quarter magic once again, because it's been bad so far.
It reminds me of, remember when the Niners lost all their quarterbacks in that NFC title game against the Eagles? And it's like Christian McCaffrey's playing quarterback.
Yes.
That's basically this Jets offense, except they have all their quarterbacks. It's because they're choosing to run the Christian McCaffrey Wildcat offense. It's unbelievable.
Oof.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, and that last drive before halftime, I don't know what they were doing.
Disgrace.
It was a disgrace. From toasts to triage, we go into inactives. You need to be thinking about backups. Players ruled out and ones we're still waiting on. Lamar Jackson out. Man, I tell you what, there's a lot of Buccaneers and Niners on this list. Bucky Irving ruled out. Chris Godwin, my goodness. Mike Evans and Ricky Pearsall. My goodness. All right, and Brock Bowers as well. And then in terms of the questionables, ones that we're still waiting on, Alvin Kamara. I know there's a lot of interest in him. QJ, I think he's trending down, guys.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Quentin Johnston to play. Does look like Mac Jones and Juwan Jennings, however, will try to give it a go. Remember, Deebo Samuel and Dalton Kincaid, they're both Monday night games, so if you have those, make sure you have a pivot. We probably won't find out about them until tomorrow.
Kyler Murray also looks like he will not go to the Jacoby Brissett show, which people haven't really bought that many tickets for in the past. But competent backup quarterback. Marvin Harrison seemed very excited as well.
I would think so. You know what's interesting is
all them deep passes he about to get.
I saw the line move from 6.5 when they thought Kyler was stirring to now Colts minus 9.5. Yeah. Now is Kyler Murray and Jacoby Brissett really worth 3 points? I don't think it is.
It's come back a little bit this morning. I think 8.5 is where it's hovering at the moment. Okay. I still think Kyler Murray's better than Jacoby Brissett. I don't think it's a massive gap, though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I was like 3 points.
Lamar Jackson, Cooper Rush, the line's moving like 10 points for the Ravens. So, 2 points for Kyler Murray. That's okay.
Who are you guys most worried about in the questionables right now?
Most worried about? I mean, for me, I would say Debo, just because it's a Monday night game. He's good enough that you don't want, especially in that matchup against the Bears, he's good enough that you don't want to be like, whatever, I'll play it safe and I'll bench Debo and I'll start somewhere here, because Debo's been awesome and it's a great matchup, right? And we know McLaurin is definitely out. But on the other hand, it's a Monday night game. It's the second Monday night game. So it's just sort of like, you're not going to be able to put him in your IR spot. And depending on your league settings, are you going to be able to pivot and pick up, Luke McCaffrey or somebody like that? So that's the one I'm most worried about, just because your options become more and more limited as the games continue to go on. So the other ones, I feel like we kind of know who's going to play and who's not.
Yeah, I'd be a little worried about Mac Jones. I think he's going to play, but just with the Todd Bowles blitzing so much, Mac Jones, we're dealing with all of his body parts seem compromised at the moment. He gets Jawan Jennings back, which helps, but I think that the Bucs' run defense has been so good. I think McCaffrey's going to be super efficient. So I think it's going to be Mac Jones fighting for his life against the blitz, which doesn't seem like an ideal situation.
It's super weird to have you on this side with me, next to me like this.
I know, it's too close.
It's a little bit, it's one thing when it's you and I, or it's just you and I on a magical dream date, but it's weird.
Y'all actually are really close right now.
Kevin's
like y'all might be on the same.
Are you on the right mark? I'm on the right mark.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, last time I was on, your glistening muscles were shrouding me with all of the demonstrative histrionics, so I asked if I could move closer to Lawrence.
I don't blame you. That was the baby oil that you were noticing, to be candid, right there. But anyway, there we go, baby oil. I'm told we have a question.
Yeah, we have to go to burning questions, Matthew, not a question from the audience. Chargers at Miami.
There we go.
Yes.
They got to give me a new one, though.
They need one with that neck.
We could have put Trista in there for George, who looked as stiff as he did from Japan, and that one right there. So. Yeah,
we've got the 3-2 Chargers, who have dropped 2 in a row to go to Miami. Chargers are a hospital wing. They've lost Najee Harris to an Achilles. Matthews, ride or die, Amari and Hampton also now injured. Bolts are down to their 4th and 5th offensive tackles. Can you start any Chargers running backs this week?
I mean, you can. Obviously, you have the ability, right? You could just press, to put them in your lineup here. Should you? Now that is a better question, my friend. I don't think so. I think this is a wait-and-see approach. You mentioned, listen, no Rashawn Slater, no Joe Alt. It's a West Coast team traveling east for a 1 o'clock game in Miami. We don't know exactly what the weather's going to be like there. And we also honestly, and I don't think the Chargers themselves sort of know what this running game is going to be like. We don't get a sense there. I do think it's going to be a little bit of a hot hand. Yes. I have Hassan Haskins at 32. I have Kamani Vidal at 33. So if I had to pick one, I'm going with Haskins just because I think he's got the better chance at a touchdown. Right? That he's more of a between the tackles type runner. He played at Michigan for Jim Harbaugh, but he's not great, right?
That's why a couple running backs had to get hurt before.
Exactly. And if you tell me, hey, one guy goes
analysis there.
Right. And if you told me, hey, one guy goes off in this Chargers backfield, I'd actually say it might be Kamani Vidal. Right? Again, I have one guy slightly higher because I think he's got the better chance at a touchdown. But if you're telling me one guy has a monster fantasy day, I think it could be Kamani Vidal, just because I think ultimately what the Chargers do is they just go super pass heavy. Remember, no team in the NFL has a higher pass rate over expectation than the Chargers. No Quentin Johnson. We don't expect QJ to play today, but still, that's what I think they do. I think you'll see some Trey Harris or some KLS out there along with McConkey and Keenan Allen. But ultimately, I just think they go pass heavy, and so if they're going pass heavy, Vidal is their third down back. He's been on the team. He's been in and out on the practice squad. They don't love him. They've opened it up to getting taken, multiple times.
It's frankly kind of surprising they've decided to run with this two-headed backfield and then sign anyone to take over a starting role during the week.
Nyheim Hines, they signed Nyheim Hines.
Yeah, but you can't start that.
Obviously, I'm just saying, it's just ideally it's
depth signing.
I'm having to in a couple of leagues where I'm truly desperate. I'm starting Haskins in 2 and Vidal in 1, super deep leagues where I'm so beat up. But ideally, in a normal league, you're and for a question from Gus here, Bourne or Haskins for flex 12-team half-point PPR. I think it's Kendrick Bourne, and I don't think it's all that close.
Chase them points. You see that chemistry that he has with Mac Jones all the way back from the Patriots days. It showed up. Their last game's easy one for, I think, all of us.
Juwan Jennings less than 100%, Mac Jones less than 100%. So Bourne, you actually sort of feel better about.
Yeah, it's interesting. Miami's allowing the 5th most points per game to running back, so you must be pretty trash if we're not going to put you into our lineups considering that. Do you also think that Herbie gets a little bit off the schneid here against a troubling secondary for Miami, Jay?
Not sure. I just think that the tackle situation is so grim for the Chargers. Justin Herbert is seeing as much pressure as anyone. He loses Quentin Johnston, who's been his best receiver this year. And so I think you're still going to start Justin Herbert because he gives you what he does on the ground. And he's still got Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen. But I wouldn't be expecting huge things from Herbert today. I just think the offensive line has just reached the point of untenable.
Yeah, I think they actually, to what Matthew said, I think they lean on the pass catchers more so than the running backs and Justin Herbert's legs as well.
It's worth noting, though, Dolphins give up the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks, right? And I think they'll pass a lot. I also think, by the way, Herbert's been running more. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
They just haven't. The Dolphins haven't stopped anybody. We saw them go against the Panthers last weekend. Bryce Young had his way. Rico Dowdle definitely had his way with him. So,
yeah. So for whatever it's worth, I mean, I have Justin Herbert as a top 10 play this week. So I do think he's a QB1.
Tom Garrett asks, with QJ and Hampton out, do I stick with Montgomery at flex or roll the dice on the Ladd and non-PPR?
Yeah, I think it's the McConkler. I'm trying it out. Anyway, it's McConculus. Ladd McConkey is your answer there. Yeah, yes, I'm nervous about David Montgomery just against this Chiefs defense that's really good against the run. It feels like where you attack where you attack the Chiefs is in the secondary, and actually they're bad against pass catching running backs. I think it's a big Gibbs game tonight. Yeah. I mean, they're all big Gibbs games, but you know what I'm saying.
Moving on to the next game, my Dallas Cowboys 2-2-1.
Wait, you're a Cowboys fan?
Yeah, I know. It's rough. Oh, no one suffers more than us, so you don't need to really give me a hard time about that.
Good job, by the way. Good job keeping that secret till you got here.
Yeah.
By the way, that's smart. I don't know if he would have made the gig.
I know. They go to Carolina. Dallas is a 3-point favorite. The total 48.5. Bryce Young in Carolina broke a lot of people's hearts in Survivor last weekend. Rico Dowdle went crazy. Is he a must-start in a revenge game against my boys?
I think so. I've been running back 9 this week, Trista. Again, no Chuba Hubbard, the second Chubler.
Yes.
Chubler Jr.
Yes, Chubler Jr.
Yes. It's not going to be exactly. With a broken Chubler, Rico Dowdle gets the start again. Massive workload last week. Of the 31 team running back touches for the Panthers, 26 of them went to Rico Dowdle. 6th most fantasy points allowed for your Cowboys as well. So Rico Dowdle in a hashtag revenge game suddenly becomes, I think he's a viable RB1 today, Lawrence.
Yeah, I'd rather have a broken neck than a broken Chubler.
Definitely.
Rico Dowdle, 83%.
You go to Hims for that, I think.
Yeah. Rico Dowdle, 83% of the running back touches in Week 5. And if you saw what Breece Hall did versus this Cowboys defense last week, 155 yards from scrimmage. Rico Dowdle on the heater, got to put him in there.
Yeah, the big storyline, though, whenever anyone talks about the Cowboys is how bad we are defensively, pretty much at every level. Tirico McMillan hasn't gotten a touchdown yet. You think this is the breakout game for him?
Yeah, I mean, it's coming. At some point, T-Mac, we spoke about during the week, he's going to have 130 yards and a touchdown. That just seems inevitable. He had 6 for 73 in the blink of an eye last week, and then just didn't get that much usage in the second half. So I think it's coming. And also, if it was ever going to come, it was going to be against the Cowboys. This past defense has been dreadful pretty much all season. The only thing is that there's some crazy wind happening for this game. So 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, that's the only thing. It's like Bryce Young has got the most fierce of arms to pierce through the breeze either. But still, T-Mac is a no-brainer start. And I think T-Mac is going to have a lot of 6 for 75 and no touchdown type of games, but has the ceiling to do plenty more.
We've said, and we've talked about him a lot this week, and we're going to talk about it more coming up later in the show. That's a hint, foreshadowing, if you will.
It's a tease.
But that's what it is. It's a tease. Thank you,
Matthew
Trista.
loves the tease.
That's what they call me. God, I have such a joke that I do not want to do. All right, so I'm doing it. I'm Steven. I'm saving your job. I'm gonna pass on the joke. It was in the area of teas and the channel that we're on, and then there's a whole stuff going on. But anyway, what I'll tell you here is that Tirico McMillan, I believe, has a breakout game, and I think it is today. We will see what's coming up later on. So I think, look, I don't think you can go wrong with this one. Corey, by the way, who asking Dowdle, Waddle, or Rachaad White, but I think the running backs are the answer here. I feel better about the workload with Dowdle and Rachaad White. Yep. Rachaad White got 75% of the Buccaneers' running back touches last week. No Bucky Irving today as well. Sean Tucker didn't do anything to make you think he's going to get more of a workload. So massive workloads for those two guys going. Chargers have a decent defense. There's always a chance that Tua melts down. So Waddle is the number one wide receiver. I actually like all three guys today, but your answer is the running backs on that one.
Let's go to the next game, Cincinnati at Green Bay. Green Bay minus 14.5 on the day, total 44.5. Guys, Cincinnati went out and got Joe Flacco. They said they were not feeling the Jake Browning experience, even though he had a pretty good fantasy game last weekend, but he is done.
Upgrade.
They said we need a 40-year-old upgrade your weekend.
And by the way, they did. Jake Browning is the worst quarterback in the NFL on EPA per play. Yeah. Joe Flacco is second worst. So they did, in fact.
I was about to say, if the question is how much of an upgrade is it, I read you Joe Flacco's stats earlier. He has a 3.8% interception statistic. Jake Brown is at 6.5%. That's his interception percentage. So, yes, you're likely to throw less interceptions with Joe Flacco than you are with Jake Browning, which means upgrade.
Yeah. It's an upgrade, technically. Technically, it's an upgrade. I think the thing is,
Jay, why don't you talk about comeback player of the year, Joe Flacco?
So here's the problem. I've watched Joe Flacco play football this year. He's no good. He's no good. He's done. He's completely done. He's a statue in the pocket. Is he really going to beat Micah Parsons and the Green Bay Packers twice this year? He's already done it once. I think the thing with Flacco is what I would say is that I think going forward it will be a material upgrade for the offense, just not this week because this is a brutal matchup.
Look, the positives here is that he has a stronger arm than Jake Browning. He will get rid of the ball quicker. Right, so Jake Browning, I think, sometimes held the ball a little bit too long, ran around, tried to make something happen, and so I think Flacco will get rid of the ball quicker, and as we've seen, if you just get it somewhere near Jamar Chase, even if there's three guys draped on him, more often than not, Jamar Chase is going to come down with it. So I do think it's going to be better. I think to answer the question here that Dodgy is asking.
It's Doogie.
Doogie?
Yeah,
Doogie. Oh, I thought they look like a D to me. All right. Does Flacco make Higgins viable as a desperate flex, or should I stick with DJ Moore? Doggy, yeah. No. Listen, Doggy style. I get it.
It's Doogie.
Is it Doogie?
Yeah, come on,
It's Doogie.
Doogie
but
style.
It looked like a D to Matthew.
It does a little bit. Anyway, I'm going to say the answer is DJ Moore here. To me, I'm nervous about T. Higgins. I'm outside my top 30 wide receiver. I think you're still starting Jamar Chase, but that's about it against this Packers defense. So, who, by the way, Packers have had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Obviously, they were on the bye last week. So I don't know how you bench Jamar Chase, but the rest of the Bengals I don't feel great about. I'm having to start Chase Brown just because my team is so desperate, and I'm hoping for a lot of just quick dump-offs for him to get rid of the ball. So I do think there's some PPR cheat code potential with Chase Brown, but I do agree with Jay that better days are ahead for the Bengals offense with Flacco versus Browning. Maybe not this week.
I think you start T. Higgins if you have to. In that particular situation, you don't have to, so you don't do it with a guy like DJ Moore available.
What about on the other side of things? I feel like the only reliable pass catcher for Green Bay has been the Tuckler. Can you start any or trust any Packers wide receiver this week against a terrible Bengals defense?
I actually think Romeo Doubs will be okay. Romeo Doubs playing basically 90% of the snaps for much of the season here. Coming out of and he definitely seems to be a red zone target that Jordan Love trusts when they get in close. And so a Bengals defense that's top 10 in terms of most fantasy points allowed to opposing wide receivers. I think Romeo Doubs is I'm at 29, so I'm as a top 30 play today. I think he's a viable wide receiver 3.
Yeah, trust is a kind of a strong word, but if you're even thinking about a Packers receiver, Romeo Doubs is the way to go because he does lead all the receivers in targets, receptions, yards, TDs, but of course, Tucker Kraft leads the team in all of those categories.
Yeah. Also, if you need a high variance shot and you played Cam Scatterby or something on Thursday night, like Matthew Golden's going to get open for a deep one against the Bengals, and it's just a matter of whether he comes down with it. That Bengals secondary is not very good. Jordan Love is very willing to take deep shots, and he's had Matthew Golden for quite a few of them open. They just haven't connected more often than not so far, but that should turn.
And the hope is, and you see this a decent amount, but the hope is coming out of the bye that there's that a rookie wide receiver. You've often seen out of the bye rookie wide receivers over the second half of their season sort of get more ingrained in the offense. So with a full week off to sort of like try to get that timing between Love and Golden going, I like that call. Absolutely.
Let's move on to the next game. This one's going to be really, really fun, and it's a test for both teams. Detroit is 4-1. They go to Kansas City 2-3. Kansas City is a 2.5-point favorite here. The total looks like there'll be some points scored here. 52.
I'm surprised about that, Jay. By the way, sorry to interrupt you. But the Chiefs at 2-4. To be a 2.5-point favorite over the Lions, who I think we all sort of agree, I don't want to speak for you, Tristan, but I know we've had this conversation on the show, that the Lions are the best team in the NFL. At least that's what I think. Top to bottom, I think at the moment. I get it. Patrick Mahomes has looked awesome last couple of weeks, but this is a surprising one to me. That basically the market is saying they think the Chiefs are a 1.5 better than the Lions.
Yeah, I think there's two things. One, I do think there is an element of desperation where this is Kansas City. It's not quite season on the line type of stuff. They play the Raiders next week, probably win that. But they're 2-3 right now. They don't want to go to 2-4. They probably need the game more than the Lions. But I think the main thing is just that the Lions are out of cornerbacks. And that is that cluster
secondary,
injury. So the secondary is just with Terry and Arnold out, with DJ Reed out, and also Mahomes, even though they lost against the Jags, it looked like the old Kansas City Chiefs offense. So I think that is what is driving the line. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great game. Good one for NBC to have on Sunday Night Football.
And that's a good point. You talk about the Detroit secondary being decimated, Jay. Can we finally get a Xavier Worthy breakout game?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult thing to ever rely on because he's so dependent on connecting with that deep ball, like a kind of rich man's Matthew Golden in that sense. He'll still be starter worthy even without that. But if it's ever going to be a game, I think it should be this one. Given that the total is so high, you expect that they're going to need to throw. Detroit have an excellent rush defense, and Kansas City have no rushing offense whatsoever outside of Mahomes. And so there should be shots available for Worthy. They should be throwing it a lot. So Xavier Worthy, the only thing is, Lawrence, is that he's just on the injury report constantly. It's not just the shoulder. He's just constantly banged up.
And last week you saw him finally have a game where he didn't rely on that deep ball. He caught 6 of 9 targets, and he had 42 receiving yards. So it's a matter of whether, is he catching the deep ball? And that's really and that's a toss-up every single game.
And they took a deep shot to him, and it just didn't connect last week, right?
So it's got to connect. He's got to keep his feet in bounds because he has trouble with that throughout his career, just stuff like that. So it's really tough, man.
I will say this, if there's a positive here, no team in the NFL has allowed more receiving yards on deep passes this year than the Detroit Lions. And that was when some of them were healthy. To your point, they are down to their 5th and 6th string corners tonight as well. They're also giving up the 7th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. I will tell you, I bet I really like is Tyquan Thornton over 24.5 receiving yards.
I'd rather take that.
I get that. I mean, that's my point. It's just they'll take deep shots tonight. Now, whether it goes to Worthy or Hollywood Brown or Tyquan Thornton, I feel like there's just a good connection between Mahomes and Thornton.
They just got a bunch of dudes that run a 4-2 out there, legit 4-2s out there.
On the other side of things, you talk about a guy who is relying on some deep shots. We were super hyped prior to the season starting for J-Mo, and he has just not really performed expectations. He had a 4% target share last game. That is just insane, Matthew.
You cannot start Jameson Williams. I guess you can. I'm at wide receiver 34, but you're hoping for one deep pass. That's really what you're hoping for. He hasn't had a game with more than 2 receptions since week number 1, right? On the season, he's wide receiver 62 on a points per game basis. Tristan, you mentioned just a 4% target share. The problem is that they don't need him. They don't need him. Their run game is so dominant between those two guys. Amon-Ra's always going to get his. Laporta has started to come on a little bit more. They just don't.
That's what it is.
They just Isaac Tesla, is also mixing in a little bit. They're taking some shots with him. So I just can't imagine starting Jameson Williams. So Logan Patton says full PPR need 1. Jameson Williams, Kenneth Gainwell, Trey Tucker, or Cooper Kupp. Honestly, yeah, it's not ideal. You need more than one, Logan, to be perfectly honest here with you. This one's a bit of a roll of the dice, but for me, I'd actually say Kenneth Gainwell. I think the Steelers' offense is going to be pretty good against Cleveland today. And I think Gainwell actually looked really good the last time we saw him. Remember, that was the game that Jaylen Warren, it was the overseas game. Jaylen Warren ruled out. Kenneth Gainwell got the opportunity and was like breaking tackles and just had a huge game there. And so I don't feel great about Kupp's usage. I don't feel great about Jameson Williams, who we just talked about. I feel like even with Jaylen Warren expected back, he's off the injury report, he's going to play. I think Kenneth Gainwell has earned more playing time, and we know that Arthur Smith likes to use multiple running backs. And so I think you'll see both guys today. Like, Aaron Rodgers not going to want to drop back against Myles Garrett. Like, I think I think they will go with a run-heavy offense here. The only other one you might consider is Trey Tucker playing against the Colts, but Geno looks so bad, and with Trey Tucker, again, it's similar to Jameson Williams. Like, he needs the one big deep play, and so
against the Titans,
oh, that's right. Sorry, they played the Colts last week. Sorry. Anyway, Gainwell would be my answer. I don't know if any of you guys disagree. It was Kupp, it was Gainwell, Jameson Williams, and Trey Tucker.
Yeah, Gainwell for me as well. I don't think that they're going to be able to run the ball that well against the Cleveland Browns front, which I do think will lead to more Kenneth Gainwell, more dump-offs. Aaron Rodgers, to your point, he's going to need to get the ball out fast.
Well, that's our biggest matchups. Let's go shot for shock. This is for our confidence plays, not our
bold predictions.
Deep shots and our bold predictions.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Lawrence. All right.
Watch this. Watch what I do. Watch this.
Round one, Matthew. Who is your lock?
Yeah, I don't know how you're doing a shot with that thing going on, but all right, that's your problem, not mine.
We find a way.
All right, here we go. Rachaad White finishes as a top 12 fantasy running back today. Again, we talked about this. 75% of the team's running back touches last week. No Bookie Irving again. Had a 12.5% target share. By the way, 49ers, one of the worst teams in the NFL in terms of pass-catching running backs. They give a lot of receptions to opposing running backs. Rachaad White, top 12 day coming for Mr. White.
Okay. Micah Parsons already played Joe Flacco once this season when Flacco was a Cleveland Brown. Micah Parsons didn't sack him. It's not going to happen again. We're not getting 2 games of Flacco v. Parsons with no Parsons sacks. It's just not going to happen. Micah Parsons gets a sack today.
All right. My first shot, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Miami versus the Los Angeles Chargers. That over-under is 45.5. I'm going to go alt line. I said goes over 47.5. That's at plus 115. Miami's offense has actually looked a lot better the last 3 weeks. They've been averaging 24 points in that time. They've also allowed 27 points in that time. And now they're going up against an improved Justin Herbert. They got some injuries, but I think this surprisingly goes over.
Ooh, okay. An alt line for an absolute lock. That is just so you, Lawrence.
Let's get it.
For me, we talked about the weather rolling into Baltimore. You mentioned that, Matthew. And we've got Matthew Stafford, a dome quarterback, and Blake Corum fumbled the ball last week. And I think that is going to open up the opportunity for Sean McVay to get in and get out over 16.5 carries for Kyren Williams.
I like it. All right, my second one. Here we go. All right. We've talked about it before, but Tirico McMillan, breakout game, has the best game of the season. 100 yards and a touchdown for Team Mac. Remember, every wide receiver that's seen at least 7 targets against the Cowboys has scored at least 15 fantasy points. Tirico McMillan has had at least 8 targets in every game this year. Team Mac goes off. Best game of the year, 100 and tutty for Tirico McMillan.
Okay. Stephon Diggs, he is back. He's been 100-plus receiving yards the past 2 weeks. He just looks like the guy that he was in Buffalo. And I think that he's really established himself as Drake May's #1 weapon. I think his receiving prop is set at 60. I just think that's too low. I think this is a guy who's back to being one of the elite receivers in the NFL. He goes to 60-plus receiving yards against Matthew's New Orleans Saints.
I like it.
Talk about bold. I'm going to be less.
This is line.
No. When we was talking about me, I'm going to be less bold than Matthew was because Tirico McMillan for 100 yards is plus 254.
That's crazy.
Hey.
Just give me Josh Jacobs for 2 touchdowns at
Just 2 touchdowns.
Just 2 touchdowns at plus 190. Look, the Bengals have allowed multiple touchdowns to running backs in 2 of their last 3 games. Damn it, it's the Bengals defense, man. Cincinnati has allowed the 2nd most TDs to running backs this season with 8. Give me Josh Jacobs 2 easy touchdowns. He's going to get 1 in the first quarter.
I like that.
That was a soliloquy, Lawrence, so I'll keep mine short. Rico Dowdle, I liked the receiving number at 13.5 yesterday. It's gone up to 18.5, so sounds like the thought was good. Dallas dead last at defending running backs through the air. They're allowing right around 60 yards per game. So I like over 18.5 receiving yards for Rico in a revenge spot.
Ooh, I like that. All right, last one for me. We've talked a lot about how bad the Bengals are. Here's one more bad Bengals stat for you. No team gives up more fantasy points to opposing tight ends than the Cincinnati Bengals. The Tuckler, the Tuck Daddy, Tucker Kraft, finishes as a top 5 fantasy tight end today.
Okay. Patrick Mahomes, I think he's back the past 2 weeks. That offense has looked the best that it has in 2 years. I think he throws for 270 plus against that battered Detroit Lions secondary, and the Chiefs win to even the ledger at 3-3.
Patrick Mahomes must really about to go off because I got him in at least 44 rushing yards. He's ran for at least 55 versus the Chargers, Eagles, and Jags. 5 or less versus teams he didn't have to, the Ravens and the Giants. He gonna have to run today, so give me 44 rushing yards for Patrick Mahomes.
You mentioned, Matthew, that they're starting to run the ball more at the quarterback position for the Bolts. So I like Justin Herbert over 22.5 rushing yards. He's cleared this in every game but one. Miami has been allowing a ton of rushing yards to quarterbacks, not including Bryce Young, who only had 1 rushing yard. So I like Justin Herbert to have over 22.5 rushing yards.
I like it.
Ryan Oswald, not Lawrence. No.
Nah.
Not Lawrence's first rodeo with a shot glass and a neck brace.
You know,
no doubt.
Not a rare situation at all. Taking shots with a neck collar.
Sounds like Ryan is with us for that night in Vegas, Lawrence.
Yikes.
All right, we'll be back after this.
We are back, and here is Jacoby Brissett warming up for Kyler Murray as he is out. It will be Brissett starting today. Here's some notable injury updates. We've got Quentin Johnston officially out. Still questionable on these Niners, and Jamar Chase questionable as well. Looks like Kamara has been ruled in, guys, so that's an interesting one. He will be active.
He is, and I think there's reason for potential optimism for him just because Patriots actually struggle against pass-catching running backs here. Their defensive line is pretty good. They're actually okay so I think Kamara could actually be useful in a flex sort of way, despite the continued emergence of Kendre Miller. So Matt Mods says, with QJ officially out, flex Jameson, Hollywood, Kendrick Bourne, or Charbonnet. Half-point PPR. I think it's got to be Kendrick Bourne here, guys.
I would go Bourne as well.
Yeah, Matt, that's what we're looking at. We like Kendrick Bourne today. Here's another one. Le Goat, 623.
You think he likes LeBron James?
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, PPR pick one. Once again, Kendrick Bourne, Kamani Vidal, Travis Hunter, or Bam Knight. Adam Schefter earlier this morning reporting that Bam Knight, not Michael Carter, will be the lead back for Arizona.
Wow.
So Schefter put that out on social media. I saw that. Having said all that, I'm still. I still think it's Kendrick Bourne here. We like the matchup. We like the usage.
However,
it's the dregs. Kendre Miller or Travis Hunter, who will win me the week? Hashtag no safe points from the Stevie J.
Yeah, first off, neither of those guys are safe. But I think it's Travis Hunter. Again, I just talked about it. I think that the way that the Saints will move the ball against the Patriots is through the air. I think it's going to be tough to run on them with both Miller and Kamara now that Kamara's active. So I think Hunter, although we don't love his usage, I think Hunter's the better play of those two.
I think the upside for Hunter is that Brenton Strange is on IR.
Yep.
And for some reason, Liam Cohen's vaunted screen game been designed around Brenton Strange instead of Travis Hunter, the guy that's second in the draft. It made no sense at all. So maybe Travis Hunter gets a bit more of a package, the kind of slot type of routes with Brenton Strange out.
Caleb Patel asks, PPR need upside pick. 1, Pollard, Ridley, Warren, or Bourne. Are we going Bourne again?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I actually kind of like all these guys here.
I think Pollard for me.
I was going to say Pollard.
Pollard's got the chance to score 2 touchdowns against the Rams.
Las Vegas, that's true. I mean, upside, honestly, I can make an argument for any of them, right? I mean, Tennessee, Las Vegas, that could, 2 bad defenses, that could be a sneaky shootout. Ridley, of course, got a ton of looks last week. You've got Jaylen Warren as well. So, I mean, Pollard's the safest play for sure, because he's going to get that work. Yeah, I mean, but you're right. There's a chance that Pollard scores twice, so we'll go there.
Well, let's talk help for your rosters, waiver ads, and desperation plays that can keep your week alive. Kamani Vidal, we've had some shade thrown at him earlier. Dolphins allowing the 5th most points per game to running backs, though, Matthew. Still not changing your mind there. Tyler Algier against Buffalo. Kendre Miller against New England, which we just spoke about as well. And wide receivers here, over 50% of leagues available. Kendrick Bourne's been getting a lot of love today. Sterling Shepard a little bit as well. I actually kind of like Ryan Flournoy at Carolina.
32% target share last week, Trista, for Ryan Flournoy. They seem to like him. Jalen Tolbert's just terrible. No team in the NFL gives up more slot receptions than the Arizona Cardinals, so Josh Downs suddenly becomes interesting. Kendrick Bourne, to our point, we've talked about him a lot, 23% target share last week. Trey Tucker's had at least 6 targets in 3 of the last 4, so all those guys are potentially interesting. Jack Rieger wants to know Sterling Shepard, Ryan Flournoy, Isaiah Bond, who got a lot of run for the Browns last week in place of Cedric Tillman, or Travis Hunter, PPR. I'm saying Sterling Shepard here, guys. You know, again, no Chris Godwin in this game.
Yeah.
I think it would be in this. I would go Shepard, then Flournoy, then Hunter, then Bond. So Shepard with no Godwin, you definitely got to go there.
I thought Godwin would be healthy by now, but it.
Well, he's re-injured.
Yeah,
it's not the same injury. It's a different injury.
I would not expect a great deal from Chris Godwin this season.
I would agree.
At this point.
So if I have him on my roster, which I do, is it a drop? Or is it a wait and see?
I think it's a wait and see. I think it's a wait and see there.
Let's go to QBs and tight ends available in over 50% of leagues. Mac and Cheese. He's banged up though as well. Sam Darnold, Michael Mayer, Jake Tongas, who I like, Tua Tagovailoa, which I'm actually stunned that he's available in over 50% of leagues, Matthew.
Yeah, I am as well. I think it's just because people watch football and and he just doesn't look great, but the numbers end up winding there. He's had 4 straight games with multiple touchdown passes. It just, it never looks pretty, but then you look up at the end of it and somehow he's gotten there.
The first couple of games, he had a lot of intercept, like the first 2 games, a lot of picks, so it's like, I'm good on that.
Yeah.
And he don't run either, so it's like.
Right. But yeah, Mac Jones averaging over 20 points. The Buccaneers are allowing over 20 points to opposing quarterbacks as well. Jake Tongas, Buccaneers have given up touchdowns, 4 touchdowns to tight ends in the last 2 games. Michael Mayer with Brock Bowers out is interesting here. I just mentioned it. Sterling Shepard is my desperation play. He's available in over 80% of leagues. He's had double-digit fantasy points in 2 of the last 3. No Chris Godwin is out, and that Seahawks secondary is banged out, Jay. Your desperation play.
He's banged out?
Yes.
Banged out, yeah. They're banged out, they're banged up. Yeah. By the way, I'm also banged out, just in case you haven't been able to figure that out.
Atrocious comment.
Yeah, I've done 3 shots.
Baby oil berry. My desperation play, I feel like he's a fixture over the past 3 years in this segment. Alec Pierce.
Yeah, he definitely
Get
is.
deep.
You're a Colts man.
I'm a Colts man. Alec Pierce, before he got concussed against the Titans, he was looking like not quite a number 1 wide receiver for the Colts, but he has diversified his route tree. He's not purely a deep ball artist anymore. So against the Cardinals defense, which seems perpetually banged up, or banged out, whatever you want to say, Alec Pierce is a viable desperation play. Yeah,
for me, I'm going to go with Tyquan Thornton. He's actually the Chiefs' leader in receiving yards right now. He's caught a 33-yard reception in 4 of the last 5 games. And when you look at this game, Lions and Chiefs 52.5 over/under. Looking for the deep. This is literally the epitome of a desperation play, Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah, and for me, since Lawrence took Tyquan Thornton from me when we were pre-show, I'm going to take Jake Tongas. He's had 2 straight double-digit games, and with all these injuries to pretty much every pass catcher other than Christian McCaffrey, in and out, I think, until Kittle gets back, he's worth a dart throw, especially considering that tight ends haven't been great this year overall.
It's been brutal. Look, after the elite guys, it's a wide group of touchdown-dependent tight ends. And so Jake Tongas, who's scored a decent amount, he scored in 3 out of 5 games this year, and the Buccaneers give up a lot of touchdowns to opposing tight ends. I like the call quite a bit. Daniel Sullivan says, pick one for desperation play. Trey Tucker, Cardinals RB, which we're saying right now is Bam Knight, not Michael Carter. Alec Pierce, Malik Washington, or Michael Mayer, who is going to get the start with Brock Bowers out. Boy, oh boy.
I would toss at
I think it's Bam Knight.
Bam Knight?
Oh, yeah, if he has him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, assuming you have him, I mean,
I'd like to think you don't have DeMarcado. I would like to think he don't have, because he ain't going to be him. Whatever Cardinals running back is.
Is he in the doghouse for good?
One would think, but who knows what the Cardinals want to do.
Yeah, he did twice.
All I'm going to say here is that I kind of like Alec Pierce in his first game back. Trey Tucker's always out there as well, but I think the safest desperation play would be Bam Knight. Although, I mean, like, you just don't know. Like, we're going off of reporting.
Yeah.
Being honest with you. Like,
that's all we've got to go on, though, with the Cardinals' backfield. And I don't think they're going to have Jacoby Brissett drop back 45 times.
There's that plus the fact that, I mean, Bam Knight did score a touchdown last week. You know what I mean? So, I mean, they got nothing.
Michael Carter had 20-something touches last week.
Yeah, but averaging like 3.5 yards per carry with him. Exactly.
They just kept giving him. I'm like, okay.
So maybe they feel better about Bam Knight, who's been in the. Maybe they feel like he's gotten more to the offense. Yeah. He's more involved in the offense. So there you go. So we are all reluctantly saying Bam Knight. And wish you luck, my friend.
Eek. You was like Trey Tucker out there. That's what you said about him.
I know.
He out there.
Trey Tucker, yeah. It's a little banged out.
Those are your waiver swings.
Trey Tucker.
Let's head
because Gino's
over.
been so bad. Gino's been so terrible. Like, it just, anyway.
We're going to prop a shot. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, you telling me.
I'm not.
You can do under-up.
I haven't moved this arm in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes.
All right, I'll start us off.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
From the George Savaricas seat. George
not bad.
Savaricas,
Even the
time to
producer
throw.
said, I don't have to throw it, I am. And I'm going to go last, and I'm going to make it.
I missed.
Ah!
All right, here we go.
Good guy.
Are we 0 for 4?
Kill the man back
We
there.
went 0 for 4. That's tough scene.
Oh,
tough scene.
that is
Standard fare.
absolutely tough. Jay, Daniel Jones, passing yards, MVP candidate, Daniel Jones. Numbers 236.5. Are you going over or under while I adjust in my little raised seat here?
Going to go over on DJ. I think the Cardinals are going to blitz a ton. That's what teams have decided they want to do against the Colts. They want to get pressure on Daniel Jones. He's been beating teams with the deep ball, which has been much better than expected. I think that he'll have some splash plays and go over 236.5.
And Lawrence, George Pickens, my guy, over 70.5 receiving yards. What do you think here?
You know what? Actually, I'm going to go under.
Oh.
I know they're going against the Panthers, but his role did not change with CeeDee Lamb being out. He's been under this number 4 out of his 5 games this season. Ryan Flournoy is kind of, taking the spot of CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to go under here for George Pickens. He'll probably score a touchdown, though.
Matthew Hassan Haskins, rushing yards, 38.5. What are you doing there?
So sad that his line is 38.5.
So crazy.
And so I'm going to take the over here, and I don't feel great about it. But the Dolphins are giving up 133 rushing yards per game. They're giving up the second most yards per carry to opposing running backs, 5.5. So I do think Haskins gets enough work in a game that shouldn't be a blowout to get over 38.5 rushing yards. But I do not feel great about it.
This is a weather game here, though, Jay. Puka Nakua's receiving yards number is 95.5. You going over or under?
Going over 95.5 with Puka Nakua. I understand that the game might get out of hand, but what do the Ravens do? They play a ton of man coverage. You know who destroys man coverage? Puka Nakua. You may only need 3 quarters to get to 100 yards.
Good point there. I am trying to find the updated totals here as we move on. Dylan Gabriel's number, 18.5 still for him. What are you doing, Lawrence?
I'm actually going to go over. Pittsburgh's has allowed 3 straight teams to go over 22 completions, and I think they're just going to dink and dunk to the point where he's going to get to this number. He had 19 completions in his first start, so he'll find some way, somehow to get there. Give me the over.
All right, Jamar Chase, longest reception, Matthew, 21.5 with Flacco. Pushing the ball down the field or not?
No, screw it. I'm going over. I'm going over. Look, he's had at least a 25-yard reception in 3 of the 4 games here. We know Flacco will chuck it deep, and so if he's been able to beat this number with Jake Browning in 3 of the last 4, I think he can beat there with Joe Flacco. It might be junk time, might be at the end when they're playing the third stringers in the 4th quarter, but I say he gets over 21.5 for the longest reception. Jamar Chase, proud Fantasy Life investor.
Yeah.
Proud Fantasy Life investor. What about CMC, Jay? Rushing and receiving yards is set at 113.5. There's not that many other people to get the ball to, though.
There's not. I'm still going to go under, though, on CMC. I think a lot of this is going to have to come from receiving. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball against Tampa. I think Jawan Jennings being back, the Kendrick Bourne, the Bourne supremacy taking hold there. I don't think that CMC is going to keep this 70, 80 receiving yards per game act up.
Lawrence, Ashton Genty's number is 76.5 on the ground. What are you doing?
Oh, this actually went up 1 yard. I'll be happily taking that over. Tennessee is tied for allowing the 2nd most rushing yards to running backs. They've allowed this number every game, not always to just one running back, but as we know, Ashton Genty is a workhorse. He goes over this number against the Titans today.
Matthew, Trevor Lawrence has been using those legs a little bit more. Passing and rushing yards are set at 248.5. What are you doing there?
I'm taking the under on the Traveler. Look, he's been under this number in 3 out of 5 games this year. 3 of the last 4 quarterbacks that face Seattle also were under this number. I get it, the Seahawks secondary is banged up, and Trevor Lawrence certainly looked good last week, but short week, emotional win against the Chiefs. I think there's a little bit of a letdown here. Seattle keeps him under 248.5 passing and rushing yards combined.
Patrick Mahomes' passing yards prop is set at 267.5, banged up. Injury-laden secondary for Detroit. Over or under here for you?
Going over here, he's had 270 and I think 318 the past 2 weeks. Mahomes, when he was winning MVPs, he was routinely set around 300 passing yards a game. I think we're going to get back to that type of world pretty soon.
I'm going to need a big game for Xavier Worthy, Lawrence. His receiving total is 63.5. You going over or under?
This went down. Is one catch for 62 yards and a TD enough for you? I hope it is, because I'm going under. We got to depend. We have to wait for that deep ball passing. Patrick Mahomes could get to that 275 passing yards without Xavier Worthy having a big game. So I'm going to go under here on Xavier Worthy.
All the games are big games for Jahmyr Gibbs,
yes.
Matthew. His over-under is only 67.5, obviously sharing carries with David Montgomery. What do you like here?
I'm actually going to take the under here. Gibbs has actually been in this number, under this number in 2 of the last 3 games. Like I said, the Chiefs actually have a pretty decent run defense, but they're vulnerable to pass-catching running backs. So I think Gibbs is involved quite a bit, but I think it's through the air, not on the ground. Give me under 67.5 rushing yards for Jahmyr Gibbs.
Ooh, okay. I like that. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. If your bet wins, just download the Sportsbook app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours!
Yeah.
We are here almost to noon. ASAP Pook. I didn't know that was his handle. With a clean fit in Baltimore. I like that swag. What do you think, Lawrence?
That's cool for him.
That's cool for him. Do you like the loafer game with the socks?
He should be showing his ankles. That's what everyone's doing these days. Show your ankles.
You know, he likes.
What's he hiding?
What's
he hiding?
What is he hiding behind those ankles?
Just some NFL ankles. That's all he hides.
Just exactly. I don't know. It's
Puka up top,
there.
Michael Jackson down bottom.
Why did no one ask me what I thought of the fit?
Because you came in.
You guys have Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes. Looks like that offense is playing a little bit better, getting some deep shots in. What's your thoughts on this Kansas City offense and what you guys need?
I see an offense that's getting better. I see them. There was a couple of critical errors that happened in that game, as with any game, that ended up hurting them. But as far as the production and the explosives and what 15 can do and these receivers, the skill position, man, I'm like, okay, this team's getting better. So everybody says the same thing. We have to contain 15. We have to try to contain him.
After a tough loss last Monday, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs looks to bounce back as they host Jared Goff and the Lions at Arrowhead. That is tonight at 7 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. You can also catch more of Tony's interview with Coach Campbell on Football Night in America and the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. As we creep closer to kickoff, we are now 1 hour out. It is noon Eastern here. If you're on the West Coast, you're just waking up. Maybe you got a little Irish coffee going, a little hair of the dog. And like Jagged Edge said...
Why do you think all of our viewers are drinkers?
Well, I mean, they're the regulars.
I mean, they are the regulars. We are in a bar.
And they want to know at 9 a.m. what they need to do with their lineup, so they have to be struggling. And Jagged Edge, one of my favorite groups, Lawrence, said, I need a drink because you're driving me to drink. So for you guys, who is driving you to drink right now in the NFL?
Yeah, for me, it's the Chargers' run game, right? I mean, like, so we just have no idea. First off, obviously, I lose Amari and Hampton, my ride or die. It looks like it might be longer than 4 weeks. At least that's what NFL Network is reporting. I've seen other reports out there, but either way, he's definitely out for at least 4 weeks. We have no idea about whether it says Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal. I think the answer is probably neither. Watch Nyheim Hines get 20. We just don't know. Again, I have Haskins slightly over Vidal, but like. It's anyone's guess. I think the Chargers don't even know. I think it'll be a hot hand approach and probably a pass-heavy attack for the Chargers. They're driving me to drink. The Chargers' run game.
Okay, for me it's Bryce Young, who...
Glug.
We're expecting big things or bigger things from Bryce Young this year after he had a solid end to last season, but it just hasn't happened at all. I know they're 2-3, but it's a fairly fraudulent 2-3. Need to see Bryce Young light up the Cowboys. Like, this is do or die time. If he continues to struggle as he has so far, then I think the Panthers are really going to ask questions about their future at the quarterback position.
Struggle, Jay, man. When you talking about a second, third year guy, Geno Smith driving me to drink. This guy's a 12-year veteran, right? He's thrown 6 touchdown passes this year. That's not that bad. Daniel Jones has thrown 6 touchdown passes, but the difference is that Geno has 9 interceptions to go right along with those 6 touchdowns, and it's just not good. We thought Trey Tucker was going to be a little fantasy relevant. Yeah. Now it's like, well, damn, Geno just going to turn the ball over. He's a turnover machine. At least when Jameis Winston was doing this, he was throwing touchdowns to go with it.
For sure.
That's a tough one. For me, it's got to be A.J. Brown. I took A.J. Brown really early in my fantasy drafts, and James Cook was right there. And now A.J. Brown is moody. He's tweeting things cryptically. He's pretending to not recall meetings that Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley said that have happened. And this passing game doesn't look right, and he looks worse. Devontae Smith actually looks like he's going to get more work than A.J. And if he's my wide receiver 1, I really feel like I am compelled to start him every week, but I really am afraid to start him every week. He's driving me to drink for sure. Aloha Bricks, which is hilarious, eating cereal with beer right now. See, I've got my finger on the pulse.
He like poured the beer in the cereal bowl, and hey,
or he could be eating cereal just and then he's drinking beer. I just don't understand why you need the cereal. All right. Funny George says, standard PPR flex, Chase Brown or Brian Thomas Jr. need a ceiling play. Hashtag FF pregame. The answer's got to be Brian Thomas Jr. for asking for a ceiling game here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trista, I know you like Trevor Lawrence.
I do. I think Brian Thomas, or Brain Thomas Jr., as he said, I just think he's starting to get more comfortable with this Liam Cohen offense. It's going to take some time. I know Brian Thomas was really disappointing the first few weeks of the season, but last week it looked a lot better, did it not?
Yeah, and 6 for 80. There were signs of life from Brian Thomas Jr. last week. He caught the long pass down the sideline. That was a huge play. Lawrence hits him in stride. He also earned a pass interference play in the end zone. Obviously, Lawrence, that was the crazy play after it that he falls down and runs in. But the fact of the matter is that he was there were signs of life last week as well, and you certainly like the matchup this week against a banged-up Seahawks secondary. So, all right, Mikey 2 times says, Golden or Haskins full PPR. Help me, Anklesbury. Yeah, I think it's, again,
I think it's got to be Golden.
Matthew Golden. Yeah, I mean, we like this matchup against Cincinnati. The hope is out of the bye, Jay.
Yeah, I think if you need floor, Haskins is just the starting running back for a team that's favoured and it has more chance of scoring a touchdown. But I think if you want ceiling just in general, I'd prefer to start Matthew Golden.
I just think Matthew Golden's the better player. Yeah. Oftentimes I'll use that as a tiebreaker. Who's just the better NFL player? All right, Daniel Penrod II says King Matthew. I like Daniel Penrod II.
There's a lot going on there.
Yes.
Baby oil liege.
Yes, exactly. Says I need your help in PPR. Alvin Kamara versus the Patriots, Kendrick Bourne versus the Bucks, or Tucker Kraft versus the Bengals. Still think it's Alvin Kamara. I get it. I actually like all three of these plays. It's hard for me to sit a starting running back for a tight end. And again, we like Kendrick Bourne, but Mac Jones is banged up. Jawan Jennings is active today. So Kamara, who, again, I think Kamara actually made the love list this week and others receiving votes just because he is – I think we saw some PPR scammery last week with him, and that is an area where you can attack the Patriots.
Yeah, I think it's close. I think all these guys are somewhat in the same tier, but Kamara, again, probably has the best chance of a touchdown of all these guys. Also, it was interesting the reporting that he's not expected to be traded. So that was kind of a downside risk for Kamara, but it seems like he's going to be part of this team going forward, and he will remain the #1 running back. Also, New Orleans Saints, congratulations to them. Only 3.5-point underdogs in an NFL game, so there should be game script for Kamara to keep it close enough.
Oh, all right, enough sadness. Let's find some players to believe in. Let's turn it in to our quarterback rankings, 1 through 10 here. Bo Nix was in the top 10, and it has not looked good for Bo Nix today. So let's hope we get some more production out of these other players here. And then we go over to 11 through 20 as well. Justin Herbert, a little bit, he's 4, excuse me. He's a little bit on the struggle bus the last few weeks, Matthew. Hasn't hit the 16-point threshold. We all thought he was going to maybe be able to put up some MVP numbers, but now all these offensive linemen are injured. Dolphins could be a slump buster, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, exactly. They give the second most yards per pass attempt. They give the third most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. So Herbert, I do think, is a top 10 play this week as well, especially given the struggles of the run game and the question marks there. I think they just decide to throw a lot.
Yeah, good to see Patrick Mahomes back in the top 3.
Top
3, yeah.
Feels like order is restored a little bit.
Yeah.
Who am I to argue with Man Campbell, who made the point that this offense is trending very much in the right direction and a favourable matchup against the aforementioned banged out Detroit secondary.
You are no
Banged
one
out
to
forever.
argue against Dan Campbell, Jay Croucher.
About anything.
About anything. As we go to 11 through 20, the darling of the new crop of quarterbacks, Drake May, comes in at 11 here. Matthew, what about this matchup against the Saints are you most excited about for the Drakler?
Yeah, I think it's the fact that it's the Saints. You sort of had me at New Orleans. Like, they give the 7th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. They've allowed multiple touchdown passes in every game this year. And Drake May, who very quietly is 5th in passing yards per game this season, uses his legs a little bit as well. He's found a #1 in Stephon Diggs. Hunter Henry always a threat in the red zone. So, yeah, Drake May, who didn't appear in the box score fantasy-wise against the Bills last week, but a brilliant game, and I think he sort of arrived in the NFL just as an NFL starter. And so, in a matchup in the Dome, it's one of the few non-weather affected games on the East Coast today, or East-ish coast. Drake May under the Dome in New Orleans should have a nice day. I'm at QB 11.
Ooh. Spags is going to be cooking up in the kitchen, Lawrence, for this matchup against Jared Goff. Do you still have faith in him?
Well, he seemed to have risen to the occasion a lot of times over the past couple years, specifically against Kansas City in Kansas City. They've already went in there and won. Now, he's quarterback 16 in fantasy points per game this season, so that's not crazy, but he's going to play well against this Chiefs team. The offense is still rolling. We had question marks about that going into the season, and Jared Goff is the guy driving this bus, so expect him to put his best fantasy foot forward this game against the Chiefs.
Yep. From Daniel with the possible storm in Baltimore, would you start Drake May over Stafford? Thanks. No, I wouldn't. I actually think the last time Matthew Stafford played in Baltimore 2 years ago was in the rain when Baltimore ran back the punt return in OT for the win. Stafford was great in that game. I think that you still want to start Matthew Stafford.
I will say, Daniel, yes, I would, and I am. In fact, I had that exact decision in our league. Again, that league has not gone my way. So, so I think it's a real question. I actually ended up starting May over Stafford in our league. It's not just the weather. My also concern is that I think that I'm nervous about Stafford's floor. The upside is obvious, but they're starting Cooper Rush. There's talk that if Cooper Rush struggles, they might bring in Tyler Huntley. Zay Flowers is banged up. They may not be able to run the ball. So my concern is that if they get up big, that it's a huge Kyron Williams game in the second half. Stafford may not need to do that much in this game as well. I could see a defensive score for the Rams. So that's the matchup is obvious. If Matthew Stafford has 300 yards in a 4-touchdown game, wouldn't shock me at all.
He could also throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns and a half.
For sure.
And then go sit down, and it's like, all right, you got.
22.
Daniel, I don't think you can screw it up because we like both guys. But to answer your question, I actually did that. I actually made that exact decision. I'm starting Drake May over Matthew Stafford in a 2-quarterback league.
Let's go over to our running back rankings here. Christian McCaffrey tops the list here.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Bijan or Bijan. I think Rico Dowdle might be a little too low on this list, Matthew.
At 9?
Yeah, I think he might be a little low.
Who would you put him above?
Maybe Achane.
Oh, wow. All right.
Achane.
Fair enough. Achane has just been so good in the passing game.
What Trista's basically saying is that Rico Dowdle's going to pull a Jay Ajayi when he went for 200 yards 3 weeks in a row.
Maybe.
Jay Ajayi, my favorite football player, because he has my name in it twice.
Yeah, good point.
And he has a British accent.
Yeah.
So you guys have an accent going for you as well. Rachaad White benefiting from Bucky Irving, who's been dealing with an injury for multiple weeks now. Expectations for him in this matchup, Matthew, against a very banged-up Niners defense.
Yeah, this is one of my shot-for-shots. I have him as a top 12 play this week as well. Last week, massive usage, 12.5% target share, 75% of the team's running back touches. Sean Tucker didn't do much. You mentioned it, but no Bucky Irving, no Chris Godwin in this one as well. So a lot of the offense should run through Rachaad White against a Niners team that has given up at least 120 yards from scrimmage to opposing running backs in 3 out of 5 games this year. They're banged up on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, no Nick Bosa. Other injuries they're dealing with as well. So Rachaad White should have a big game today.
In the primetime Monday night matchup at the beautiful, storied FedEx Field, where I contracted norovirus a couple of years ago on Christmas Eve.
I've seen the sign there.
Yeah, this here is where Trista contracted norovirus. The Commanders take on the Bears, who have been god-awful against the pass. They've been kind of god-awful in a lot of ways defensively. What do you think about Bill, a.k.a. JCMJ?
Yeah, I like Bill. I think he's trending up. He had over 70% of the touches last week. That's been going up from 50% to plus 70%. In terms of rush grade on PFF, he's the #1 running back in the sport of football, Matthew. And I think that just his yards per carry, his explosiveness, Jaden Daniels such a cheat code for running backs with the way he draws attention and men out of the box. I think that Bill, you start him with confidence going forward, and he's clearly separated himself in that backfield.
Yeah.
Question from Sebastian. Morning. Thank you. Good morning back. Pick 2, please. Diggs, Bill, or Tedero McMillan? Hate to split May and Diggs stack. Good luck today.
Oh, interesting. All right, so he's got Drake May. So the question is, do you want the stack? So then I think it's Diggs, and I still think it's Tedero McMillan. As much as we like Bill Krosky Merritt, you will see some Chris Rodriguez, as Jaden Daniels is always a threat to sort of keep it himself as well. So I can't believe I'm saying bench a guy after a 2-touchdown game, but we really like Tedero McMillan today against the Cowboys, and obviously you have the stack there with May and Diggs. By the way, Diggs, a top 10 wide receiver over the last 2 weeks.
I say I like Diggs. I think with Drake, him and Drake May really got that going.
Derrick Henry, very tough matchup with the game script. No Lamar. Is Derrick Henry ever a sit?
I mean, he could be this week. I've been running back 25, which is the lowest I've ever had him. So he's merely a touchdown-dependent flex, honestly, at this point. So far, since week 2, He's running back 46 in points per game. He's averaging basically 12 touches a game. Rams top 5 in terms of fewest yards allowed to opposing running backs. Game script is not expected to be, favorable. Ravens have one of the lowest implied team totals on the slate this week. We just talked about it. Cooper Rush, Tyler Huntley. We don't know who's going to be playing quarterback for the entire game. It's going to start out with Cooper Rush, but you could certainly see them not doing anything, Trista. So, yeah, I mean, you're hoping he falls into the end zone if you have to start him, which I have to, and I am, and that's really what I'm hoping for. But literally, he's a touchdown-dependent flex, which is kind of crazy to think about for Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and you mentioned touchdown-dependent running backs, and Emari Demercado, Lawrence, put himself deep into the doghouse, ended up getting physically attacked by his coach, and now no Michael Carter. We don't really know what's going on. There's reports that it's going to be Bam Knight. So what are you doing with the running back situation here?
Well, kind of a fall from grace from Michael Carter, who was running back 9 last week in PPR scoring. He handled 76% of the Cardinals' touches last week. Now with reports that Bam Knight is going to be the guy in that backfield, if you were going to start Michael Carter in the flex, I don't think you could do that, or at least know what the expectations are, because that's at very least a split backfield at this point. But here's another thing, though. He had 18 carries last week, but it was for only 51 yards. That's less than 3 yards a carry. So it wasn't like it was a great day, and that could play into why Bam Knight's going to have a bigger role this week.
Good point. Husker Holly 323 says, Bourne, Chase Brown, or Michael Carter in a PPR flex for perspective starting CMC, Kyron Williams, JSN, and Pickens. So probably looking for the higher upside of these three. This guy doesn't want – he just wants to brag that that's sort of who he's got as well. Looking for the higher upside of these three. It's clearly not Michael Carter here. I'll say highest upside is probably Chase Brown. He's still a running back, right? A bunch of dump-offs from Joe Flacco. So he's also the riskiest. But honestly, I don't think you need that. I mean, that's a really strong, given the guys that you're starting, I actually think Kendrick Bourne is kind of the floor guy.
I think that's who I would start. But if he's saying upside is Chase Brown, but the person I would just start is Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, you just feel better about Bourne.
Yeah, opportunity,
especially
and
with that roster they already have.
For sure. Let's go over to the wide receiver rankings as well. I know, guys, that Dallas defensively is an embarrassment on pretty much every level. That's everything that everyone says about us pretty much every week. So reasonably, what should we bank on for the rookie Tirico McMillan, Matthew, who hasn't found the end zone yet?
He has not, but he's been getting massive volume. You see it right there on your screen. He's my wide receiver 13 this week. Just a target share. He's gotten 43% of the Panthers' air yards, right? And he's gotten at least 8 targets in every single game. The reason we bring up 8 targets every single game, because every wide receiver that's seen at least 7 targets against the Cowboys this year has scored at least 15 fantasy points. So there's a nice floor there for Tirico McMillan. I think you've heard my shot for shot. I'm saying 100 yards and a touchdown. I think this is the breakout game for T-Mac today. So looking forward to that. Again, I'm as a top 13 play.
It feels like Stephon Diggs plays well in only markets where there's nothing to do. Minnesota, Buffalo, things really trended down in Houston. There's a lot of great spots there. But he's now booed up with Cardi B. Jay, he's got one on the way.
Yeah.
Is he your boo this week?
Good question.
He is.
Is he your boo?
The Diggler, Dirk Diggler. He's back. He's back in a big way. And I think the great thing with Diggs is, one, he's clearly the #1 guy in an offense where the quarterback is playing, frankly, a close to MVP ballot level so far this season in Drake May. And also the underlying stats with Diggs, his ability to separate. He's the 4th highest wide receiver by PFF grade in the sport. He just looks like Stephon Diggs again. You look at him against the game against Buffalo, he's separating, he's getting open. And the great thing about him in terms of his floor is that because Drake May is so comfortable getting out of structure, Stephon Diggs is so good. He's got all this practice with Josh Allen over the years of just finding gaps outside of structure when the play breaks down. So I think Stephon Diggs is going to be a top 10 wide receiver the rest of the way.
Geno Smith has looked really rough, Matthew, these last few weeks, but they face a Titans team that's allowed the 23rd in fantasy points to wideouts. Brock Bowers out. Is this an opening to you for Jacoby Myers?
I think so. I have Jacoby Myers at wide receiver 24, so I get it. It has not been great for Jacoby Myers over the last couple of weeks, but here come the Tennessee Titans, who allow the 4th highest catch rate to wide receivers. Wide receivers that have seen at least 6 targets against the Titans this year are averaging 18 fantasy points per game. And so, again, with no Brock Bowers, we think that they're going to have to throw a decent amount. Should be a big Gente game as well. But I think Jacoby Myers gets enough looks here against Tennessee to be a viable wide receiver 3.
Another matchup to ask you about, Lawrence. We had a lot of anticipation for Ladd McConkey in year 2. Keenan Allen turning back the clock, though. Quentin Johnston has looked a lot more reliable. Now with QJ out, how do we set expectations for our Ladd today?
The thing about Ladd is without Quentin Johnston, from a fantasy perspective, things look a lot better for him. But last week, people kind of felt like, oh, he's back. But he just got a touchdown. It wasn't. He had 39 receiving yards. He ran a punt return back, so that got called back. So that kind of made people look at it a different way. But Keenan Allen is the guy who still led the team in targets. So, but for this week, without Quentin Johnston, and I think the Chargers rely more on the passing game. It should be a nice week for Ladd McConkey.
Philip Edwards asks, #FF pregame, should I start Flowers or Haskins in the flex full PPR league?
Yeah, I'm still starting Flowers. I get it. Listen, less than 100%. Obviously, tough quarterback situation. We don't know how the weather will affect it, but there's just Hassan Haskins just isn't that good. He just like at some point.
Savaging of the Haskins family.
I'm just saying, like I'm saying, Zay, are you going against Zay Flowers here? Will you look for Haskins?
I would start Haskins because I think there is more of a chance he scores a touchdown. And I think we're dealing with Zay Flowers, like 5 for 52. Hassan Haskins, 39 yards on the ground. I think the touchdown is the tiebreak, but I don't feel good about either, naturally.
Yeah. I'm nervous about Zay Flowers today.
5 for 72 last week for Zay Flowers with Cooper Rush. Yeah.
Cooper Rush, former backup for my Dallas Cowboys. Let's move on to tight ends. It is not a fantasy football show with Matthew Berry and Jay Croucher without the mention of the Tuckler. It feels like it's just him out there that Jordan Love can rely on a week-to-week basis, Matthew.
Yeah, looking for him a decent amount out of the bye. Expect to get him involved, especially in a great matchup against Cincinnati. No team in the NFL gives up more fantasy points to opposing tight ends than the Cincinnati Bengals. So Tucker Kraft, who, has been a big part of their red zone offense. He's good after the catch as well. Bengals bottom 5 in the NFL in terms of most receptions and yards allowed to opposing tight ends as well. So, yeah, I have Tucker Kraft as tight end 5 this week.
Let's talk about Tyler Warren, Jay. Expectations were sky high for him coming out of Penn State. He leads all tight ends in receiving yards right now. What do you feel about him today?
Yeah, I think it's a great matchup for him against the Cardinals. He is kind of the hub of this passing offense. He's been the best tight end in football so far. I think he'd be getting a lot more buzz for Offensive Rookie of the Year, if not for the year that Emeka Egbuka is having. So Tyler Warren, feel very confident he's going to be a top 3 tight end the rest of the way.
Elliot Pott says Kankler, that's you, I guess, Matthew.
Yes, it is.
And Neckler, flex half PPR, Kraft or Flowers. I'm going to support you, right?
Definitely Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't even know. This question was just a troll, I feel like. Was it not?
It's a flex question. I get it.
With Cooper Rush and possibly Tyler Huntley, gotta be Tucker
Potentially
Kraft.
bad weather, yeah.
Full PPR, Jacob Bourbon says, start one flex, JCM, Chase Brown, Tyler Warren, or Kendrick Bourne. I feel like it's got to be Tyler Warren.
Yeah, I think it's no. For me, it's Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. I think it's Bill. And we talked about it from Jay.
Bill for me too.
Yeah, good matchup.
What about
more
you,
usage.
Lawrence?
I would go Bill. Expecting that he get the same type of usage as last week.
Yeah, it's good for home
if
game
that's
against
what it's
Chicago.
Gonna be, then I'll go him. Then I will go Tyler Warren. And
yeah, Bears aren't great. Bears are not good against the run.
And then for you, let's talk about Jake Tonges, who's my desperation play as we go further down the board. You have him ranked as a borderline starter, and yet he's still available in 80% of leagues.
I have him as QB 13. Tight end 13, I should say. Tight end 13. Look, we talked about this. 23% target share last week. He's scored in 3 out of the 5 games so far this year. Buccaneers have allowed multiple touchdowns to tight ends in each of the last 2 games. So Tonges carving out a role for himself in this Niners offense.
Ooh. Well, rankings are set. Let's chase some touchdowns. Admittedly, it's been a long time since I've played Flip Cup. So let's see how it goes. You guys are going to have to give me a little bit of a break.
All right. No, that's fine.
Did anybody fill Matthew's cup up to the top again?
No. You know, it's only George. Only
With
George.
ice.
Only cheating George.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Tokyo
All right. So you're gonna.
Cheers.
No, Krista.
Down.
Trista.
Down. All right, down.
And then.
All right.
Right.
So 1, 2, 3, down.
No. Okay.
Go with it. Still drinking mine.
Yeah, I know. There we go.
Let's go.
Oh, nice. There we
Come
go.
on, Jay.
There we go. Well done. Well done. I know a little
We're
bit
still
left
waiting
there.
on the neck.
I had to take 2 shots because I couldn't drink all
I
of
know.
it.
It's same.
That's right.
Had a lot.
It's a noble life.
No, it's always terrible.
like Dak
I
Prescott
think
in
how bad it is absolutely brutal. Anyway, Tristan, it seems like you got yours first. Go ahead.
This is to reveal the order of our DraftKings touchdown parlay. I have Tirico McMillan. I think he finally gets into the end zone here. Dallas is allowing the most touchdowns in the league to wide receivers at a total of 10 on the year. I expect a high-scoring affair. I think T-Mac finally comes to play.
Yeah, I think I finished second. Josh Jacobs. We know Lawrence likes it for 2 touchdowns. I only need 1. Going against the Bengals, one of the league leaders in terms of most touchdown passes allowed. Should be a home favorite. Josh is always easy to get into the end zone.
Yep, Kyron Williams for me, making amends after that costly fumble against the Niners. More than touchdown favorites against the Ravens. Very favorable matchup.
I'm excited about having Emeka Ibuka here. He scored in 4 of the 5 games this season, tied for second in the NFL in touchdowns. And we talk about that Seahawks defense being banged up. All of it is in the defensive backfield. They're missing 3 starting DBs. So give me Emeka Ibuka to score here.
Kyron Williams comes out. He looks ready to go. It looks like the weather is okay. Clouds are just coming in. But up next, we go to beer goggles and pickup lines coming up right after this. And welcome back. We've got Marvin Harrison Jr. This is super cool. Warming up underneath his dad's name in the Colts Ring of Honor. Man, the Cardinals receiver said that this game's going to be special and emotional. I bet. Let's go to our first game as we lock in lineups. Let's loosen up. It's beer goggles time. On a scale of 1 to 5, how many drinks do you need to have someone go home and take one of these players and put them into your lineup? So how faded do you need to be? Let's start at Arizona at Indianapolis. Daniel Jones, top receiver Michael Pittman, actually been pretty damn good and consistent on scoring in every game but one. For you, how many beers do you need?
One beer, nothing. Just I'm being social. I'm just trying to get along. So I could be fairly sober to start Michael Pittman. I'm at wide receiver 21. He's had 5 receptions in every game this year except for one. Arizona Cardinals, that secondary is not strong as well. We expect Daniel Jones back home. He plays better at home so far this year than he does on the road. Cardinals bottom 10 in terms of most receptions allowed and yards per game allowed to opposing wide receivers. So Pittman, I think, is a borderline top 20 play this week.
I think everybody's very happy. The New York Giants are happy. Daniel Jones is happy that this breakup has ensued. DJ has looked very comfortable in this new Indianapolis offense, but he has fallen off a little bit in terms of fantasy production. For you, how many beers does it take for you to start Danny Dimes?
0 beers. I'm comfortable Daniel Jones is a starting quarterback in one quarterback leagues. The thing with Jones is that he's been great so far this year, and he still has rushing upside to come. That hasn't been a huge part of his production so far. I think he's very comfortable in the Shane Steichen offense. Favorable matchup to Matthew's point against the Cardinals' pass defense.
Lawrence, we know that Marvin Harrison has the goods, but the production's been a little bit all over the place. But we've got Jacoby Brissett. Maybe that ends up being better for Marvin Harrison. What do you think? How many beers for you?
I think he'll get a lot of more deep ball targets here, and you don't have to worry about the quarterback running as much. So just 2 beers for me. And like you say, it's been up and down. He's got one top 10 finish, one top 20 finish, and then a couple weeks outside the top 45. So that's a guy you probably need 2 beers to start in fantasy.
Let's go to our next matchup, Seattle at Jacksonville. Kenneth Walker, when we think about him, we expect 20 fantasy points or more for him. And that just hasn't been really that. He's so touchdown dependent. How many beers for you to start Kenneth Walker?
I'd want 2 beers, and I'd probably be on my way to ordering a third. I'm at running back 20, so I'd want to be a little buzzed. Look, back-to-back games with 80 rushing yards and multiple goal line rushing attempts, which you like. But also, they use Charbonnet. It's not a great matchup, believe it or not. Jacksonville allows the 6th fewest rushing yards per game to opposing running backs. He's just playing 44% of the snaps. Again, this is a true committee between him and Zach Charbonnet, and it's weird. They seem to prefer Charbonnet at the goal line to Walker. So, I think he'll get it, but I just, he's 2 beers for me, Trista. I want to, I don't feel... No, I'm not rock solid, and I feel fine-ish. 2 beers.
We saw that big highlight play from Travis Hunter last week. What does that mean, though? How many beers does it take for you to start Travis Hunter? Because I'm feeling a little scared.
Yeah, 4 beers for Travis Hunter. I do think there is upside, though. I think it's going to get better for Travis Hunter. I mentioned earlier about how Brenton Strange going out, I think is only good for Travis Hunter's upside, but still, need to see it first. Any given game, he could just play more on defense. So, tough matchup against the Seahawks as well.
I must be 3 sheets to the wind every weekend, Lawrence, because I have to start the Traveler out of necessity. He got into the end zone twice last weekend. How many beers to start him for you?
Yeah, I'm going to say 2. I'm not going to get too carried away off that one game because he does only have one game passing over 225 yards this season, and that was the Bengals. But I do love the fact that the Seahawks, for him at least, are missing all of these defensive backs. So just 2 beers for me for the old Traveler.
Let's go to Patriots at New Orleans. Just 8 rushing attempts last week for Alvin Kamara. Ugh. Yeah. And now he's going up against a Pats team that is 4th in rushing yards allowed, and he's dinged. How many beers for Mr. Kamara?
I'm going to say 2.5 beers. Look, back-to-back games with at least a 19% target share. We like that, including 5 red zone targets. New England, as I've talked about throughout the show, allows the 5th highest catch rate to opposing running backs. So that is an area you can attack. But he's banged up. It's a good defensive line against New England. Kendre Miller is getting more and more work. He had only one more play touch than Kendre Miller did last week. 12 touches last week for Alvin Kamara. And he's less than 100%. He was on the injury report. So 2.5 beers for Kamara. He's my running back 21 after the Thursday night guys are taken out. He's a flex play. He's a flex play in PPR leagues only.
The peak of Rashid Shaheed came last week against the Giants, where he found the end zone. How many beers for you to start him?
3 beers for Rashid Shaheed. It's kind of the same deal every single week with Rashid Shaheed. I was hoping that maybe this year might expand his route tree a little bit, get a bit more consistent. He's still just going to be dependent on the deep ball. He is Gabe Davis, a bit further south and in a dome, basically. And you depend on the deep ball, and he's every chance to get one because that's what he does. But 3 beers for Rashid Shaheed.
I was told Ramondre Stevenson was done. It was over for him, and it was going to be the Travion Henderson show during training camp, but yet here he is leading the league. Or leading his team, in touches. Not the league, definitely not that. How many beers to start Ramondre?
He ain't done, but he ain't done much, though. You know, look, 3.5 beers, 10 or less touches in 3 straight games, albeit he still has more touches than all the other Patriots running backs. And the New Orleans Saints run defense, they ain't complete slouches. We saw what they did versus the Giants, and we saw what the Giants just did versus the Eagles. Their Saints run defense middle of the road, so I would need 3.5 beers because you just never know where they could go with this Patriots backfield.
Yeah, it's very sporadic. You just don't know. Let's move over to Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Very hostile environment against the Steelers with a rookie quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. David Njoku for you. A safety blanket for rookies usually. How many brewskis for him?
1.5 beers, Trista. Look, in Dylan Gabriel's first start last week, 26% target share for David Njoku. Dylan Gabriel, not the biggest arm in the NFL, so he likes that short yardage stuff, which is an area where Njoku specializes. Worth noting that the Steelers allow the 5th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends, and so in a low-scoring game, Dylan Gabriel probably under a little bit of pressure. I think he gets it to Njoku. I'm as a top 8 fantasy tight end today. Just 1.5 beers to start David Njoku.
We love Jalen Warren, but that Browns rushing defense is something nasty. How many beers to start him?
2 beers for Jalen Warren. Not a great matchup to your point, Trista, but still, they're almost touchdown favorites. Still think that Jalen Warren's going to be the #1 guy in that backfield, so 2 beers for Warren.
DK Metcalf, Lawrence, coming off of his huge game against the Vikings in London Town, going up against a Brown secondary that allows the 5th most touchdowns to wide receivers. How many beers to start DK?
Yeah, and really that big game was just that one big play that last time he was out, but I'm still going to go 1 beer. He scored in 3 straight games, and when you look at the next best target, the next most targets is a 15% target share. That's Calvin Austin. So when you're the guy for Aaron Rodgers, you the guy. So just 1 beer.
All right, guys, that's 7 beers for you, Barry.
Sure.
Pints of Guinness. Is that hammered for you, or is that just like getting started?
That's
getting the ball rolling.
That's hour 2 with Lawrence in Vegas.
Yeah, I see that. But this is where Lawrence and Jay make their move. And Jay, you're not doing so well. He's not taking you home that often.
Got off the schneid last week.
But let's see how you can get back in there and get him to take you home. But Lawrence, you're first. What's your best move?
Yeah, I got to get back in the win column, too. So I'm going to bring up a guy that I would definitely stick my neck out for here in Bryce Young, Matthew.
That's what you did there.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Hold on.
Yeah, 15 rushing yards, man, at plus 138 here. If you folks out there want to ladder that to 25, that's plus 302. But Dallas has allowed the 6th most rushing yards to quarterbacks this season. They've given up an average of 30 rushing yards per game to quarterbacks, and it just wasn't like some Justin Fields game. No. Justin Fields, Jordan Love, Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts, all of these quarterbacks. I said Russell Wilson in there, too. All of those quarterbacks have had at least 15. Hell, they've had at least 20 rushing yards versus Dallas now. He's only had a total of 8 carries for 14 yards in his last 4 games, but we know Bryce Young has that in his arsenal. Yep. And if you see a weakness in the defense, you attack it. So there you go, 15 measly old rushing yards for Bryce Young.
I like
that. Sales pitch.
I like it. That's a pretty good sales pitch.
I don't like being so close. For
I know, it's uncomfortable.
Physical proximity is not great.
Don't you want him to take you home?
No, not really. I'll push on, though. I want you to select my bet. I don't want anything else. Okay, so the bet is, it's the Chargers team total under 24.5. And here's why this is the bet, Matthew. So here's what the Chargers have scored their past 4 games. 10 points. Oh, very good. 18, 23, 20. They've gone under 4 games in a row. They don't have any running backs left. They don't have any tackles left. Justin Herbert is seeing as much pressure as anyone else in the NFL. And yeah, the Dolphins defense isn't great, but it has improved in terms of generating pressure in the past 2 weeks. And these guys on the defensive line, like Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Zach Sealer, Chop Robinson, they are good players. And I think they're going to get pressure on Herbert. I think the Chargers may well win, but I think it's going to be ugly. And I don't think they get to 25 points, which they haven't done since week 1.
Yeah, I like both bets here. I'm nervous. Boy, I got a choice. I can either count on the Dolphins defense or Bryce Young. It's quite quite the opportunity here for
Couple
me.
of twos.
I might just go home by myself.
At least the Dolphins defense got Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, there you go.
There's something there.
I like both bets. I'll take both bets. But Lawrence, I'm going home with you. Let's
see what it's like in a neck brace.
Let's get weird with the neck brace. It is what it is.
It's the ankler and the neckler.
And the neckler.
I don't know if I like that neckler stuff.
At the
Whoever came
Cribbler.
over that.
Tyler Olson says, hello, FF, pregame regular here. Have some good options at flex and RB2, but which two would you pick to start? T-Mac, Ken Walker, or Bill?
You heard me talk about, so I have Ken Walker just behind Bill Krosky-Merritt. So I'm going to say Tedero McMillan, who I have as wide receiver 13. And I'll go with Bill Krosky-Merritt. I prefer the matchup for him. I think he gets more of the work than Ken Walker will today. It's really him and Charbonnet are like neck and neck.
That's a good point, too, because Xavier Legette has been injured. He came back, had an okay game, got into the end zone, but you would think that it's T-Mac's show really there.
I am interested, though, just to see, but if you want to grab him and stash him, we should see Jalen Coker. Cokeheads unite.
The Cokeheads.
Yeah.
I think the Panthers actually need that guy.
Oh, sure.
You know?
Yeah, there's no question about that.
To play PR?
To play PR.
To play PPR. Start 2 and flex. Charbonnet, Ramondre, Sterling, or Pierce in PPR.
And that's Alec Pierce of Jays, Indianapolis Colts. Sterling, I think it's the 2 running backs here, right? Charbonnet has a chance to fall into the end zone. So does Ramondre Stevenson. Sterling and Shepard and Pierce are like more desperation plays. We know that Charbonnet and Ramondre Stevenson are both touching the ball 10 times today, at least 10 times. So that would be my pick here.
Yeah, and as big as the fumbling issue is for Ramondre, Antonio Gibson out for the season. Doesn't seem like they trust Travion Henderson for whatever reason. So I think that Ramondre is he would be my number 1 pick of that group, and Charbonnet second.
Do you think Travion gets more usage as the season goes on, or should we just expect this moving forward to be kind of a by committee?
He has to get more work.
Too explosive.
Too explosive. They used an early round draft pick. We've seen this before with rookie running backs. Sometimes they're slow to start, but second half of the year, I have to think that they get more out of Henderson, especially.
Other thing that too is Ramondre is now like 1 moment away from just being almost done, and he will know that every single carry that he has. So this is not great. Every Ramondre Stevenson run is going to be theatre at this point, unfortunately.
BK says half PPR, JCM, Waddle, or Ladd need high upside.
Give me Jalen Waddle. I think they all have upside, honestly. But Jalen Waddle, who's the clear number 1 for Tua Tagovailoa, Ladd McConkey, we're hoping. We saw signs of life last week, and obviously no QJ. So we're hoping. But again, team's been able to get pressure on Herbert. It's a West Coast team traveling east for a 1 o'clock game. Keenan Allen has been sort of the guy. So I'm going to say Jalen Waddle here.
Let me get Waddle. He saw him catch the deep pass last week. He still gets it every area of the field, and Malik Washington hasn't came on yet. Easy one there.
You just watch, though. Ladd McConkey, everyone's now written him off. No Quentin Johnston. There are no running backs. Wouldn't be surprised at all if he exploded, but need to see it first at this point.
Jimmy Varnum asks, full PPR, Shakir, Henderson, or Flowers? Ugh.
Oofa. Yeah, that's right.
I don't love that question.
Flowers.
I think it's got to be Flowers, unfortunately, even though, again, we don't expect him to play a full game. Probably some limited snaps with a questionable quarterback. But just, again, he's the best of those 3 guys for me.
And that Falcons defense is
5 for 65 and be happy.
Yes, for sure.
Points.
Probably 55, but...
If we're splitting hairs, Jay Jones asks, I'll bet this fantasy question stumps the team. Who'd you start at flex? Worthy, Montgomery, T. Higgins, or Jay Williams need 1?
So Jay Jones, by the way, so you see the icon there from YouTube, right? So he asked this on our YouTube comments. But he literally just copied and pasted a tweet that he sent to another show. Ask FFT, that's another show. Shout out to my friends Dave and Jamie, they're great guys. But just anyway,
he said Jay, somebody go answer the question. You know what? We will.
Jay, a little thirsty.
We'll answer.
Little thirsty, Jay. Little thirsty. All right, who'd you start at flex? Worthy, Montgomery, T. Higgins, or I assume, is that Javonte Williams? I'm guessing that's Javonte, not Jameson.
I think it's Javonte Williams.
I think it's Javonte Williams. That's easy.
That's an easy one.
I think it's, assuming it's Javonte Williams, we're going with Javonte Williams. If it's Jameson Williams, then the answer is Xavier Worthy.
Yes.
To me.
Agreed.
For sure. Agreed.
Yep, agreed.
I mean, maybe, and then I would say Montgomery after that.
Yeah, he's to me, he's a little bit touchdown dependent. I do think the Chiefs are actually pretty good against the run. All right. Wes Backus says, OG Ankler, there, I got you. Need help desperately. Can only start one non-PPR. Torrey Horton, You're Not So Scary Terry, or Travis Hunter. Terry McLaurin is out for this week, so it's not him. So now it's Torrey Horton, who isn't getting a ton of usage, but has scored like three touchdowns in the last 4 games, or Travis Hunter. I'm going to say Travis Hunter here just because, like, Horton is so far has been very touchdown dependent. So I'm going to go with Hunter, who, to your point about the Brenton Strange, and like Hunter looked the best I've seen him last week against the Chiefs.
Very good.
Yes.
I don't know why they don't use him.
Yeah.
Joseph Cook says, morning crew, need one, Kamara, Henry, or Diggs. Thanks, bottoms up. Nice jacket, Matthew. Not nice jacket, me? What about this jacket?
I mean, it's kind of, it's shiny. Shout out to the NBC Sports Wardrobe Department for the jacket. Need one. Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, or Stephon Diggs, bottomed up. I'm actually going to say Diggs here. Yeah. I feel like he's been a top 10 fantasy wide receiver each of the last 2 weeks without scoring a touchdown. I think he gets in the end zone against the Saints today.
Yep. I think Diggs each week is going to be a 7 for 75 type of guy.
He might end up with more catches than Kamara and Henry ends up carries today. Yeah. Like, that's how I'm feeling about how things shake out around there.
The Diggler. Jeffrey Moody, Hunter Henry, Travion Henderson, or Kamani Vidal. Full PPR looking for the highest floor. I think Hunter Henry is actually the highest floor. Travion, the usage hasn't been there.
Yeah. Travion, I think, is the highest variance because maybe Mike Vrabel's fed up with Ramondre's fumbles and starts to get. I feel like that is going to flip. The switch is going to flip at some point, but you just don't know when it's going to be. Kamani Vidal, we've spoken about him, and then Hunter Henry does have a floor and probably has the highest floor of these 3.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter Henry is the number 2 passing option on a passing offense that we kind of like with Drake May. So.
Jerry Medina asks, PPR, need a flex, Michael Carter or Jawan Jennings?
Jawan Jennings. Yeah, I mean, again, we've heard the news that apparently the expectation is Bam Knight will get the majority of the work for the Cardinals backfield.
Yeah, and that's a big one. Last question before we hit this break. DMG Zeus? J.K. Dobbins wet the bed. Yeah, he did. I need upside at flex. J-Mo, Travis Hunter, Trey Tucker, or Haskins. This keeps coming up. The dregs of the fantasy world here. Upside is probably Travis
J-Mo
Hunter
or Travis Hunter. I think I'm just. Listen, Jameson Williams only needs one, but I think I'd feel better about Hunter. Like, again, so
like,
Hunter.
I'll take what Travis Hunter did last week or over waiting to see if Jameson Williams catches a 70-yard touchdown.
Yes.
The only thing is that, and I agree, I think it's Travis Hunter. The Lions, as we spoke about, they're 2.5-point dogs. They're almost never underdogs. They almost never have to be in throw script. There is more of a chance that this is a shootout and they do actually need to throw the ball. Yeah. So I do think there is more upside for Jameson Williams than usual. But this offense is just so difficult because when they get into the red zone, it's all Amon-Ra St. Brown. And Sam Laporta as well gets a ton of work. So I think it's Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Holly Mark says, is Trista hosting a fantasy pregame show or getting ready to jump on stage for open mic night at a bar in Nashville? That is just shade. Love the show. Yeah. Always on the main screen lobbying for a top 10 regular.
Yeah, listen, good call. I like you. They're watching both games, watching us on the main screen and the what they call the football game on the other one
13
as well.
to 11 was
By the way, Mark H., I don't know that why does it have to be one or the other? Trista could very easily jump on an open mic stage in Nashville in this outfit.
It would be rap, not country, though. Lineups lock in 10 minutes. Last call coming up
you're definitely rapping next segment.
After this. If you didn't know that this game between the Jets and the Broncos was absolutely trash vomit, this tweet from Underdog Fantasy will tell you the Jets end the game with -10 net passing yards. I don't think I've seen that before.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Somebody that had to start Justin Fields in a league or two, including one guillotine league. And Mason Taylor. It was awful. J.K. Dobbins, it was an atrocious train wreck of a game, and the Jets specifically. Justin Fields took 9 sacks in this game.
9 times.
9 times.
So you get 45 passing yards for him. Then you get the 9 sacks. I don't know that math, Jay, offhand, but that's how you end up with -10 net passing yards.
Yeah, it's awful.
One, the game set back British-American relations 3 decades. That was absolutely atrocious. 2, that was so bad that it almost makes you think that there's something wrong with Justin Fields. He's coming off the concussion. That was not a good. There were guys open as well, and you just look at them not throw the ball. So very concerning. I wonder if it might be Tyrod Taylor time coming up pretty soon. If you have, if you're in a Superflex league and Tyrod Taylor's just on waivers, try and pick him up because there could be some changes.
That's a great point. And when you look at Garrett Wilson, are we waiting to see what happens with Tyrod Taylor? Are we sitting Garrett Wilson? Because it feels like his talent alone, you feel like compelled to start him every week.
Yeah, you do. Although, Aaron Glenn, I just got an alert that Aaron Glenn said he's now dealing with a hip injury, Garrett Wilson. So, yeah, this was bad, but also
Wilson has been fine.
Yeah, listen. It's a London game. London games are always weird. It's Pat Surtain and the Denver Broncos defense, also always tough as well. Look,
the Broncos didn't light it up.
Yeah.
They weren't great either.
No, exactly.
It's just if the Broncos was playing a different team today, we'd be talking about the Broncos.
Well, Bo Nix is getting one of the great free passes of all time.
It's a great pass. It's a great pass.
Was bad too.
If you was going to play like
Cortland
this,
Sutton was bad. Everyone was bad in this game.
If you was going to play like the Broncos played offense, you better damn sure be playing the Jets, and they were.
There was one touchdown scored in this game, and it was a fullback. It just.
Shout out to the fullbacks.
Yeah, brutal.
Well, you're right. I think we should probably be crushing the Denver Broncos more, considering how badly the New York Jets defense has been. And I talked about this with you before the show started. Salah leaves, and then everything kind of craters for this defense. So only 13 points against them, where they were giving up almost 30 points a game.
I have to wonder if Aaron Glenn lasts more than a year.
I wouldn't think so. If not, if they're going to continue playing like this. By the way, the betting action out of this game, go bet the Chiefs to win the AFC West at +200 because I think they're the only really good team in that division.
Yeah, potentially. That's a good call.
Final round.
I'm shocked that was ever even a question, but you know how.
No, but the Broncos and Chargers both started hot.
Yeah.
Well,
so
3-4 weeks of the season, they'll do that to you.
The Chiefs are on sale right now for that division. Final round before kickoff. It's last call. Grab your drink. Grab your dignity. I don't know
dignity.
I don't know that Lawrence has any dignity. Let's really quickly, Jonathan Medici, Barry man up and trade Trista jackets for last call. Can you fit into my jacket with those glistening
It's a nice jacket. I wouldn't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to ruin it.
The bulge very shoulders.
Yeah, and then you get baby oil all over your nice jacket. That's not good.
I don't want that.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get to the bar trivia standings. Good God.
Yeah, let's get to it because
this is an ass kicking is what's going on.
Well, hold on.
Should we even count it?
I left the set one game under 500. Now I'm 5 back, so thank you, George, and your filters that you're putting on your face in my score this
Very
week.
troubling. Very troubling.
I can't believe he put a filter on.
Should have sent in your picks.
I tried to.
You don't show up, and then that's what happens. Is George makes your picks for you.
Okay. More receiving yards.
Doesn't matter. You still got a shot at beating Jay for a second.
Sure.
Well, I got a shot at beating you, man.
Yeah, bring it on. Let's go.
It's been a little bit of a domination. More receiving yards, Marvin Harrison or Michael Pittman?
Marvin Harrison.
I will also go Marvin Harrison, the Jacoby. The Jacobler.
Marvin Harrison.
The Jacobler.
More fantasy. The Jacobler. More fantasy points, Jalen Waddle or Ladd McConkey?
Waddle.
I'm
going to go McConkey.
Ladd McConkey.
Come on, Waddle. Damn it.
More receptions, Stephon Diggs or Chris Olave?
Ooh, reception's a tough one. I'll go Diggs, though.
Diggs.
Give me Olave.
More total yards, Quinshawn Judkins or Jaylen Warren? That's a tough one.
Judkins for me, too.
Judkins.
More, you can't just do the same thing.
I wanted to. I can't be lying to myself like that.
More receiving yards, George Pickens or Tirico McMillan?
T-Mac.
Yeah, Tirico McMillan.
Tirico.
Yeah.
You really hate my Dallas defense. Like, you just really
I
do.
took the Pickens under. I think, yeah.
I mean, we saw some
You hate
Ryan
everything about
Fournette.
Yeah.
Watch now that watch now that everyone's off of Jalen Tolbert. Watch him go off this week.
Oh, he slandered his name.
Yes.
Viciously.
Yes, rightfully so.
More passing yards. Come on, Trevor Lawrence or Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold.
I'm gonna go the Traveler.
Come on.
Sam Darnold.
Two out of three. Okay, more receiving yards. Zay Flowers or Devontae Adams?
Devontae Adams.
Devontae.
I'll go Zay.
Oh, no.
You really are all in
I
on
don't
Zay.
have to do this early.
Not really.
Just
I'm
hang
just
in.
Trying to make up. He's 8 down.
Yeah, exactly. I ain't worried about being Jay. I'm trying to win.
More fantasy points, Calvin Ridley or Jacoby Myers?
Myers.
Fantasy points.
Yeah, I'll go Jacoby Myers too.
Give me Ridley.
You gotta be
Give me the Riddler.
Week
the
17,
contrarian.
Riddler.
More receiving yards, Romeo Doubs or T. Higgins?
Romeo Doubs.
Damn.
Dobbs.
Dobby.
You better go
Dobby.
Higgins.
Nah, I gotta go Dobbs.
More rush yards, Christian McCaffrey or Rashad White?
Rashad White.
I agree. Rashad White for more rush yards.
Man,
Yeah.
Rashad White for me too.
Yeah, CMC averaging like 3 yards per carry. It's a rough one for him. More passing yards, Patrick Mahomes or Jared Goff?
Sir Patrick.
Gotta be.
Yep, Patrick.
We're all on Mahomes.
More rush yards, Bijan Robinson
Bijan.
or James Cook?
Bijan Robinson.
More fantasy points. Last one, Roma Dunze or Deebo Samuel, who's questionable.
I'm gonna go
Bro.
with Dunze.
Adunze.
Well, I'm gonna go with Dunze because if Debo don't play,
Yeah, then you'll get screwed just by.
Yeah, kind of got to do that one.
Yeah. Well, trivia is done. Lineups are locked. We are seconds from kickoff. Thanks for having me, guys.
Trista, good to see you. I'm sure we will see you again. That music means it's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Hope you survived that Jets game. For Lawrence, Trista, and Jay, I'm Matthew. Go get yourself a win. We'll see you tomorrow for Happy Hour. Peace out.